Hello, my name is Christian Rivera Blaas, account executive with Lenovo, and I specialize in the field of education technology. I'm very pleased to be sharing this presentation here with you to talk about mindsets that are valuable to our personal and professional lives. And I want to thank Ms. Caroline Veloso Oliveira, director at the North Carolina Society of Hispanics Professionals, for the opportunity to form part of this unique initiative to speak to you today. Um, Before I kind of speak into this topic on mindset, a little bit about who I am. I'm a 36-year-old husband, father, son, brother, and I'm an educator by nature. I used to teach in the classroom at a high school level as a social studies and history professor. I'm passionate about sharing experiences that offer perspectives that could help others solve problems or perhaps pursue goals in their personal or professional careers. I'm someone that helps students and teachers under my current role acquire the technology they need to make the best of their educational processes. And I'm a committed technology business professional. I'm hungry for life and eager to help others accomplish their personal and professional goals wherever I'm able to do so. One quote that really stands out to me as I was doing some research for this presentation comes from Walt Disney. At one point in his career and his life, he said that all our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. I believe that that's a nice and powerful quote to highlight during this presentation because I believe it's absolutely true. Our dreams can absolutely come true, but it does take a desire and a want and effort in wanting to pursue those and turn them into potential realities. So, as I continue to segue into this conversation, an important question to throw out there to our audience and those of you that are watching is to really take a minute to consider and reflect, who are you? And that's a very powerful conversation that is worth having with yourself, sometimes just looking in the mirror. So let me ask you this: does mindset and skill really matter? Is that important when it comes to talking about the success that we want to have in professionally or personally or both? What does mindset even mean? What are skill sets and why do these things matter? What do people like young athletes or successful entrepreneurs and business people that sometimes we want to be like or admire, is this important to them? What do they think like? These are some of the things that I just want to cover with you today. And there's some really good information that I found online in a website called skillsyouneed.com. And I'm going to read a little bit of the information that they share because it's very powerful. First of all, in definition, mindset is the established set of attitudes that someone holds on or towards something. A skill is the ability to do something well and develop it until you become an expert in that. So at this point, something that I am passionate about learning about is the difference between having a positive mindset, a negative mindset. As this website kind of defines it, it's the difference between having a fixed or a growth mindset. So there's two ways to view our intelligence or our abilities. We're either fixed in our thought process or we have a growth mindset. So the fixed mindset refers to the attitude that believes that abilities and skills are fixed or ingrained from the minute we're born, and we can't do much to change those. We can't do much to improve those. On the opposite, the growth mindset is the attitude that believes that we can develop our ability through hard work, through hard work and effort to accomplish that growth, that improvement, that maturity. And depending on what type of mindset we carry, we will see the results, whether positive or negative. For example, students that have a growth mindset are shown to perform better in school and typically carry better grades than students that don't necessarily have the habit of thinking in a growth mindset. They perhaps have a fixed mindset that leads them to believe that they cannot improve in that particular area. It's also seen in athletes and even in entrepreneurs that want to start up businesses that they think are good ideas, but they perhaps lack the confidence to believe that they can see it to come to fruition. And having a growth mindset is, you know, critical to someone's success. These mindsets also determine how we handle challenges. People that have fixed mindsets will often become discouraged quickly and easily. They become uninterested in a matter and eventually give up on it because challenging events are seen as challenges to beliefs in themselves, their abilities, or their skill sets. And what they're doing with that is that their mindset is actually hindering them from pursuing the success that they want to go accomplish. On the opposite, someone and or people with growth mindsets have the attitude of of seeing challenges and setbacks and sometimes even problems as opportunities to learn, opportunities to exercise what has been learned in the past through experience or through knowledge. And in challenging times, these are the people that actually tend to run towards a problem or raise to the challenge and try to overcome. So something that I've become very interested in past years and learning more about is a unique science of neuroplasticity. And that's a science that basically concludes that the brain is very much like a piece of plastic, not in a negative aspect, but in the sense that it be reshaped, it could be molded and reformed over time. And this helps the brain develop new neural pathways that actually lead to better mindsets because they lead to better thought processes. So basically, the point there is, you know, sometimes it's hard to believe, but we actually can change the way we think. We can change our behaviors and attitude towards things, and that's a change in mindset. And again, that's why we're talking about this today, because they typically say that old dogs cannot learn new tricks, but according to neuroplasticity and that science in particular, that's actually not entirely true. So, what are some things that we can do and that I personally try my best to practice daily and weekly to overcome areas in which I myself may have fixed mindsets and challenge it to become more of a growth mindset? Well, number one, I can recognize that having a growth mindset, it's not simply a good thing for me, but there's actually scientific data that backs up the fact that these processes have good and positive results. Number two, we can do what I'm doing today, which is just sharing what I do know about this area through knowledge, through research, but also through my own experiences, and share it with you because it helps me reinforce the knowledge that I've picked up. And it actually helps me be reminded of areas in which I can continue to work on, develop, and improve on. Um, you know, this also helps me and will help you feel that you're a little bit more in control. And one of the things that I believe is critical to the mindset piece is understanding what we can control, what we cannot control, focusing on those things that we can, and then the things that we cannot control, we will learn to manage better and just come to an acceptance of it while still using the things that we can control as ways to mitigate those uncontrollable things in life. Um, People that are in control typically perform better, and that's something that research has also shown. So that's why it's important to focus on those things that we can work on, the things that we are able to control. And number three, just keep in mind that there is always that voice of negativity that we all have as part of our conscious and subconscious. It's important to identify it, and it's important to respond to it with positive thinking, with thoughts of self value, thoughts of self confidence and self esteem. Some people would think that there's arrogance in believing in oneself, and I would actually say that we need that as part of our mental and emotional health. And number four, what I would add to that is that it's okay to understand that we're not perfect. That's actually part of the things that we cannot control. And as we help ourselves understand that and come to that understanding, we will actually do better because we'll be more willing to forgive ourselves as we realize that we make mistakes. Mindsets are not just important for learning new skills, however, they simply determine how we look at life and how we think about everything. You know, someone that is going through a critical illness like a cancer, in my personal experience, I've had very critical health conditions in the past decade, and having a negative mindset only helped me feel worse. When as I tried to improve my thought process, I actually began to feel better, and my recovery was actually much faster, much more fruitful, simply because of how I was looking at things. In my family life, in my work life, wherever it is, it's also been tremendously helpful, and it will help you as well, whether it be in sports, whether it be in your school, whether it be in your professional career. There is there is something about positive growth mindset that will lead to productive results, even in relationships. So cultivating and developing a growth mindset really can be the single most important thing that we could do, to go after that success that is so important to us. Now, there's a personal example that I can speak to, and that is my son, my 15-year-old son, Jao, who is a motocross um, uh, athlete, and he wants to pursue a professional career in that. So he's extremely passionate about this, and as a father, I try to study him to understand better where are the areas that I can be a good dad, a good friend, and a good coach. And so I constantly ask him, what are the things that he's passionate about within the sport? Why is he passionate about it? And what are some of the mindset, challenges or successes that he's had that have helped him perform better in this sport? And he's actually taught me some things as he shares some experiences with me. So, for example, he believes that his performance is significantly better when he adopts an attitude of growth versus a fixed mindset. Right? In recent races that he's been in, he's fought and put in effort to overcome his thoughts of limitation, his thoughts of feeling that he's not good enough to race within certain categories, only to find out as he puts himself out of the comfort zone that he's just as good, sometimes even better than other riders on the track. But it's something that he can only come to understand as he exposes himself to the opportunity to learn and potentially fail in the process. Some of the attitudes that he's shared with us, that we've seen him grow in the past 2 years under this particular sport and the career he wants in motocross, include a few things. So, number one, he has a genuine interest for what he's doing. Number two, he can visualize where he wants to go. Number three, he has a desire to go there. He really wants to accomplish a certain level of success that he sees for himself. He has and practices gratitude and humility. One of the best things that I'm constantly told about him, and the feedback that I get told from other people that know him, is that Jao is tremendously humble. And with myself and my wife and his family, he practices gratitude a lot. He's constantly helping around. He's constantly offering to volunteer to do things that sometimes are not expected of him, but out of gratitude because of our support for him, he looks to give back, and that is critical. for anyone. Um, he's also very big on establishing commitments, but even more important, honoring those commitments. He understands the power and the value of putting one's word out there, and that's important because he makes commitments to his personal coaches. He makes commitments to me as a father to get good grades and be a good example for his little brother. Um, and he honors them, and that's tremendously important. He's also developed a keen sense of strategy. You see, you can't want to be the best in a sport without planning. You can't want to go and perform to your best if you're necessarily going to places unprepared. So he's developed a unique skill set to plan ahead, and then he takes action around those plans. If he has a plan in place, he goes put that plan in motion, and we have seen how his performance has been tremendously successful when he follows those plans. It also allows him the opportunity to tweak. He also identifies where he's not doing all that great, where he would like to improve on, and then as he goes out to practice, he improves in those areas because he's focusing on those areas of opportunity. One area that forces him and challenges him to get better is at competing. In our head, we could have the best vision. In our hearts, we could have the biggest desire. We could have the best attitude, but we have to put ourselves outside of our comfort zone and we have to be willing to compete, especially in our environment around sports. And competing allows him to understand where he's good at, but it also allows him to maintain that sense of humility because there's always somebody potentially better than you. And how we manage our wins and how we manage our losses also determine and identify and define what kind of mindset we're having, whether it's a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. When we take a loss and we get discouraged, it could potentially reflect a fixed mindset. When we take a loss, and even in the middle of that loss, we're looking at it as an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to get back up and try again, automatically that reflects a growth mindset. And it's through the power of sports in this particular case. And more important to Zhao, I know, is, and something that we continuously discuss, is having the opportunity to take all those things that we've discussed, the vision, the desire, the gratitude, the humility, the commitments, the planification, the action items, the improvements, it's taking all of that and sharing it with others. If we want to take our success and sit on it for our own glory, then there will be limits to that success. But if we take it to help others become better in whatever area, I believe that that will come back tenfold to us, and we will only see our group and of friends and families improve their lifestyles as well, thanks to us just contributing wherever we can to part of their success. So this is just using one 15-year-old pursuing a career in motocross and using him as an example of why having a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset is so powerful and it makes such a difference. So if I were to summarize this, what are the attitudes that we can all continue to develop? I would say self-awareness is extremely important. I would also say that faith in purpose, vision, goals are extremely important. Make your plans and be accountable to them. Building good relationships and just understanding that we are not the center of the universe. And most importantly, having fun throughout the journey, enjoying the ups, embracing the downs. It all ultimately helps us be better. I just don't think that there's any better way to summarize. So I just want to, again, encourage you to pursue having a growth mindset, a mentality that is eager to learn, hungry to have experiences, but then also humble enough to want to go share, because as we share with others, we feed ourselves, and we get better at it as well. So thank you again for tuning in and listening for the past 20 minutes or so. It's been, as always, an honor to be part of this conversation with you. I hope this is helpful, even if it's to just one person that helps in one way or the other. It will have been a success. Thank you again to Caroline and the team at the North Carolina Society of Hispanic Professionals. Best wishes. Best of luck to you. Have a great day.